how do you go about designing a robust yet flexible facilitation process? Hopefully you aren't just cobbling together a few random activities like brainstorming and then using dot stickers to vote on the best ideas. In this episode, we're going to explore the FIDO process and help put some bite into your facilitation.
Bob Dick wrote the second edition of Helping Groups to be Effective, Skills, Processes and Concepts for Group Facilitation back in 1991. It's still available for sale on his website, and I have a well-worn copy on my bookshelf. I have fond memories of attending Bob's lectures when I was undertaking some postgrad studies back in the 90s. In his book, Bob describes a meta process for process design, which I've used many times. It talks about 4 elements: feelings, information, decisions, and outcomes, hence the acronym of FIDO.
The underlying assumption is that positive feelings allow the interchange of information, which, if useful and understood, help those present to make more effective decisions. If these have the required commitment of those involved and are able to be achieved and evaluated, then the desired outcomes are more likely to be achieved. There's a nice diagram that shows the prerequisites for each step in greater detail.
Denise, I like to think of the framework as a ladder that we can walk up and down. What isn't immediately obvious, though, from the diagram is that when we're designing an activity, we start from the bottom up. We firstly need to clearly define the outcomes, which may be broken down into ultimate ones, intermediate ones, and immediate ones. We then define the required decisions to be made by the participants for the outcomes to be achieved. Then we can determine what information is required by the participants to make the required decisions. Additionally, we can be clear about the feelings we're hoping to create or those negative ones that we might need to deal with during the process.
When we're facilitating the event, we work our way down the ladder and we help the group elicit and exchange information so that everyone is well informed about the background. It's important to check that all the participants not only have the required information, but that they understand it. We can then help them make decisions that will then produce the desired outcomes. We can check in to see how people are feeling and deal with the negative ones whenever necessary. Sometimes I'll do this at the beginning of the process if I know that tensions are running high. Other times I'll check in with participants during the process, and most often towards the end of the process, when the decisions have been made. It's important to check that no negative feelings have been aroused and that participants feel suitably positive about the decision. Sometimes this is an iterative process which is repeated until sufficient people are sufficiently happy with the outcome.
Yes, that's right, Denise. And there's a second diagram that shows how we work our way up the FIDO model and then back down, dealing with emotions whenever necessary. This reminds me of Bennett's hierarchy, which we covered in an earlier episode, where you can design an activity by going down the staircase and then evaluate it by going up the stairs. What I like most about the FIDO model is that it identifies feelings as an integral part of the process. So often in our Western culture, we act as if emotions aren't important, and worse, that they impede effective decision-making. Instead, they're an integral part and can help improve the quality of the decisions that we make.
I agree, John. And that's also why I like using the ORID discussion process, because it too highlights the need to reflect on feelings. And we've done an episode on that as well, if you're interested. But back to FIDO, it's a useful meta process to help improve the effectiveness of our facilitation. To learn all the ins and outs, we recommend you buy the book as it contains that and many other useful approaches.
Well, you've heard our thoughts, and now we'd like to hear yours. Add a comment below the blog post and tell us about your experiences with using the FIDO process or similar, including any tips and further ideas about it. We don't want this just to be a one-way conversation. Join in by sharing your thoughts and ideas with us. And a special hat tip to Bob Dick, as we know he follows our work here at Enablers of Change. He's a deep thinker who has made immeasurable contributions to the facilitation discipline. Plus, he's a lovely, humble guy.
Yep. Thanks, Bob. And thanks, folks, for joining us on this Enablers of Change episode. Please remember to subscribe to our newsletter if you'd like to know when new episodes are available.
All the best until we meet again.